Hello, everybody. This is Mike Berger again with NC Planning, coming at you with a daily counsel and one of our efforts to add some additional perspective in the space during this COVID-19 pandemic. Some other business advisors that we know that we work with regularly. And today I've got with me Jason Deshayes. Jason is the Director of Tax Planning with Cook Wealth Management Group. He's got nearly 2 decades of experience in accounting, working with various public accounting firms and corporate entities. And Jason regularly serves as a trusted advisor for multiple businesses, assisting with things like modeling and succession planning, financial consulting, budgeting, tax advisory services. So I thought it would be good to get Jason on today and get his perspective on some of the things that we're seeing during this COVID-19 and talk a little bit about business pivoting. So Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Mike. Appreciate it.
Of course. I know you're talking to business owners like we are from an advisory standpoint. What can you tell us that you're working with business owners or advising them right now outside of just tax planning in general? In sort of like, what do you do with your business? How do you pivot in working on your business when you're not maybe working in your business as much?
Well, and so that's always been, in my experience, what's kept people from moving to that next strategic step is that they've always had their business kind of running them, and it's been too busy, too this. Well, COVID's not been a positive experience. I will say, though, it has created freedom, and I'm sure you've dealt with this. I know I've seen it in my personal life where we're taking family walks and we're having this time to like decompress, and we're running at a slower pace, which allows you to think about things and decide what's important and take out what's not. So I've been encouraging our business owners we're talking to is taking that extra time that they now have. And even though things are tight and they're probably operating not in a familiar environment, it's like, well, what are the things you've wanted to do? I've seen a lot of it. Businesses find some really cool operational changes that they've done where they've created new revenue streams they didn't have before. Here in the Triangle, we've seen all the breweries kind of figure out ways to because it can't be open for their traditional taproom service, but having drive-throughs and doing delivery and pickups that are, contactless, but things that would, when this gets done, could still be things they could do. And that would create more revenue after the fact. So you're kind of positioning yourself to having a bigger outcome at the end of this without necessarily having to add a bunch of other changes in the process. I think also social media is becoming a huge hit for people because you can't connect with people the same way. We can't just go to those events that we go to, we're going to do networking and connect with people there. And you have to do it through Zoom, through social media, and other virtual points, which people have probably been a little hesitant about or not had the bandwidth to do. And we've got that now. I've seen a lot of people do videos and they're not professionally done, which before you'd say, oh no, if I'm gonna do video, I gotta make sure it's a really high quality, professional, done up thing. Right. Well, I've seen people they're on a walk and they do a 3-minute video on a topic and they're done. I think there's that kind of human element that's allowing you to connect a little differently. I mean, you look at my background, I've got my, this is my kids' bookshelf and their games and our ironing board. But, there's a reality that that's kind of making people connect better, which allows you to connect as a business owner more, because people really do business with each other, not with a corporate name and another corporate name. So that's been kind of the big things I've been noticing with our business owners is can they find ways to enhance the revenue, not just now, but in the long haul, but also kind of call out the things that haven't been working and then only bring back the stuff that does and things that they've wanted to do for a while.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, all the points that you made are things that I've been discussing with folks, both internally as well as externally, ranging from, hey, there's opportunity here, right? Look for the silver lining, look for the glass half full, try to find those opportunities both now as we're kind of in stay-at-home order mode and in the pandemic, as well as what do the next few months look like as we come out of this thing and constantly be thinking about what opportunities might be there. And then I think, mentally as well as strategically, like prepare yourself to really maximize those opportunities and your ability to try to take advantage of them.
Yeah, and
But
there's been so many of these things that like I've talked to people that they don't like their payroll provider because they haven't been getting good service. They don't like this because they're not getting good service. And you know what? Now's a great time to switch those things because those are the kind of things you can do right now. You can make those pivots to better functional advisors or software platforms. Maybe you've been negligent about like I need to deal with virtual conferencing. I gotta look at that. Well, now you have to. So now you just do it,
yeah,
and there's no excuse for that. So I think that's really a great time to make those changes and kind of just do it in a way that makes sense. Like you're gonna find someone who can connect with you right now, and that person is gonna still be able to connect with you after this.
yep.
So if you give them it now, you're gonna have a great person for a long time.
Yeah, and to that end, we've been having calls with clients and emails, and really to that button up housekeeping mode.
Yeah.
We've found that a lot of folks are taking some of this quote unquote downtime, if you will, to make sure their house and their affairs are in order. So from the
Hmm.
legal side, for me, what that traditionally looks like is, well, I had an LLC that I formed, but I didn't take care of corporate minutes annually, or I didn't take care of getting my operating agreement or my shareholders agreement and bylaws together, depending on what entity structure you have. And this is a great opportunity, I know, in the legal space to try to clean up some of that
Hmm.
housekeeping, do some minutes that kind of bless everything that the corporation has done up till now. And what are you seeing on the tax side, or what might be an opportunity for folks to think about, if they were going to clean up their internal records from a financial perspective?
Well, I think there's a couple things, things the work you guys do, their estate planning's a big piece of that. And having those things aligned, the estate planning, at least in my experience, and I'm sure you and Lauren would agree with this, is that it's not people's, top of mind that they want to go talk about what happens after they pass.
Right.
So what's nice now is that there's consideration that that could happen very dramatically. So they need to position those things, which is great because you're like kind of forcing those conversations to happen. So I think that's a really important one to hit. I think the other piece is, I've seen a lot of folks who really have not needed to worry about their business as much because it's been doing well. And so the financials are not as critical because, oh, we got plenty of cash in the bank. Profit, we pay more taxes than we know what to do with. That's great. But what's happening now is people need to understand their business better. So they need to understand, how do they make money? Where do they spend money? Which money is important to spend? What's not so important to spend? And how can they stretch out this period where there's government shutdowns? So they're having to refocus on understanding how to operate a business, but do it so in a lean, efficient manner that's highly productive. And so I think now is the time where people can really look at, how am I doing the right thing from the accounting perspective? Am I um, having oftentimes we see it, I'm sure you do too, is it's the spouse that's kind of doing this on the side, that's kind of taking care of things. Do I need to outsource this and have someone who's going to be responsive to it, because I need to understand what my business is going to do in a week, not, oh, whenever we get to it kind of thing. So I think there's some definite opportunity there for people to refine on some systems, also figure out ways to cut out bad use of time. Doing payroll manually or doing payroll themselves is a great area where you can save a lot of time by outsourcing and be a better outcome for it. And I think that's where people can just kind of, you know, cut the cord there and just say, okay, we're going to take this off. I'm going to create some time for me and be able to get focus on my business and do better things than shuffling paperwork, making deposits, and filing tax forms.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And this is one of those sort of discussions like you and I are having that we'll have frequently with clients about, make sure that you're keeping tabs with your
Hmm.
trusted advisory sort of counsel, if you will. I
Yeah.
mean, the way that I refer to it or always think of it is, if you're the business owner, if you're the leader of your organization, you should be delegating what you can both internally as well as externally, and making sure that you're surrounded by a team of advisors that's going to work with you proactively, right?
Hmm.
Such as yourself. I know you take a similar stance.
Yeah, I think it's, especially lately, it's been important. We've been reaching out to folks and just talking with them and saying, how are things coming? What's the next step? We're having strategic discussions. And so most people think that tax advisory or tax firms is really kind of a passive process. It's just, yeah, here's your tax stuff. See you later. See you next year. And really, it's important to be connected and talking about this because we're having to make big changes pretty quickly, especially right now. I think it's so important to have those people and have regular dialogue with them because you may not have earth-shattering announcement every day or every week, but even a quick email saying, hey, everything's going great, things are plugging along, we're doing, I mean, to talk to you in like 2 weeks about this thing I've got in mind. Those are kind of communications and just kind of relationship building that I know I've always appreciated. I'm sure you do too, is that if you can just keep me in the loop before you do something, that's great. And it can just be a quick little email, just dropping a line that we're considering this. You don't want to be as a client, you don't necessarily want to be getting the how do we fix this kind of advice. We want to be proactive, so we got to be ahead of the situation. And I think clients appreciate that. I know as advisors, we all appreciate being on the front of the things rather than trying to fix it on the back end.
Right. Well, Jason, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know, folks have questions right now amidst business pivoting, amid, SBA lending programs, amidst how do I get my workers back once we clear? If somebody wants to reach out to you, is there a best way to contact you that you can give us right now?
Yeah, right now you can call our office, and we're still routing calls, 919-784-9100, or they can email me at jdeshayes@cookwealth.com.
All right, Jason, again, always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
You too, Mike.
We're social distancing.
Yeah.
Still good to see you. And hopefully we'll be clear of this thing and get together soon. Thanks so much.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks.